Welcome to Grand Prix, your go-to channel for the fastest updates in Formula One. We've got 3 hot stories for you, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay ahead of the pack. Let's get started. Red Bull is facing an important transition period in Formula One after suffering a series of high-profile staff departures in recent months. The team, which has been one of the most dominant forces on the grid in recent years, now finds itself in the position of having to rebuild key areas of its structure while maintaining competitiveness at the very top of the sport. Some of the most significant exits have been Adrian Newey, long regarded as one of the greatest technical minds in Formula One history, who moved to Aston Martin, and Jonathan Whitley, who left to join Sauber. These names were more than just senior figures. They were integral to the design, development, and performance of Red Bull's cars during its most successful years. Their departure has created both a vacuum of experience and a need for immediate restructuring inside the organization. Adding to these losses, Red Bull also confirmed that its chief strategist, Will Courtney, will leave for McLaren. This role is particularly crucial, as strategy decisions often determine race outcomes in modern Formula One, where margins are razor-thin and pit stop calls, tire choices, and timing of safety car responses can change the course of an entire championship. The vacancy in such a key position has therefore heightened concerns about the team's stability heading into the next phase of competition. In response, Red Bull has begun a wide recruitment drive. According to the team's official page and listings on professional hiring platforms, multiple vacancies are currently open, particularly within the technical department. The search is not limited to filling existing roles, but also extends to redistributing responsibilities, ensuring that the workload previously handled by these high-profile individuals can be managed more effectively across a larger group of engineers and strategists. While it is common for Formula One teams to have staff changes, the current volume of openings at Red Bull suggests something deeper, a genuine restructuring process. The organization is not only replacing key figures, but also seeking to rethink how its technical and strategic departments function. This period of internal rebuilding is aimed at protecting the team's performance levels in both the short and long term. One of the central challenges is balancing continuity with innovation. Red Bull cannot afford to lose its identity and winning culture, but at the same time, it must adapt to new realities. With the 2026 regulation changes approaching, bringing an entirely new engine formula and further shifts in car design, the ability to adapt quickly will define whether Red Bull can remain a championship contender or fall behind in a highly competitive field. Another factor is the impact on morale within the team. High-profile departures can create uncertainty among staff members and even raise questions about leadership direction. Maintaining unity and confidence will be as critical as securing replacements. If the internal environment weakens, the risk is that further employees could be lured away by rivals promising greater stability or new opportunities. From a sporting perspective, the timing could hardly be more sensitive. Max Verstappen remains one of the grid's most dominant drivers, but even the best talent behind the wheel needs a strong team infrastructure. Losing top engineers, strategists, and technical directors at once could compromise Red Bull's ability to provide Verstappen with the tools necessary to continue his dominance. That, in turn, opens the door for rivals like McLaren, Ferrari, or Mercedes to capitalize on any missteps. It is also worth noting that Red Bull's rivals have been strategically strengthening themselves by hiring directly from the Austrian team. Aston Martin's acquisition of Adrian Newey, for instance, not only strengthens its own technical department, but also weakens Red Bull's edge. Similarly, McLaren's addition of Will Courtney bolsters its race strategy at a time when the team is already surging forward with competitive results. McLaren heads into Formula One's summer break with a commanding lead in the Constructors' Championship, an impressive 299 points clear of Ferrari. In the drivers' standings, however, the fight is far tighter, and it's an intra-team battle. Oscar Piastri currently leads by just 9 points over teammate Lando Norris. Max Verstappen sits in third place, 88 points adrift, but the reigning champion is still viewed as a threat. No one can afford to underestimate Verstappen's ability to turn a season around. In a recent interview, McLaren CEO Zak Brown acknowledged that the title fight will likely come down to his 2 drivers. He revealed that discussions have already taken place within the team on how to manage the situation should both drivers remain in contention until the very end. Brown pointed to the British Grand Prix earlier this year as an example of the kind of tension they want to avoid. At Silverstone, Piastri finished second behind Norris but was visibly frustrated after missing out on victory due to a controversial in-race penalty. The Australian had hoped McLaren might return the position to him to restore his lead, but the team did not intervene. That moment underscored the fine line between letting drivers race freely and managing internal rivalries. According to Brown, McLaren will stick to its policy of not favoring either driver, even with the championship margin so close. He made it clear there will be no shift towards supporting just one driver for the sake of securing the title. Instead, the outcome will depend on each driver's consistency, execution, and perhaps even unpredictable factors such as weather conditions, safety car interventions, or on-track incidents. This approach is a bold statement in modern Formula One, where teams often lean toward backing a single driver when championships are on the line. Brown's stance suggests that McLaren values fair competition between its drivers and believes both are capable of delivering under pressure. However, it also opens the door to potential flashpoints if a critical race sees the two going wheel-to-wheel for victory. Maintaining harmony within the team will be crucial. The constructors' title may already be within reach, but a collision or costly mistake between Piastri and Norris could shift momentum in the drivers' championship and invite rivals like Verstappen back into play. As Brown noted, the challenge is to allow competition without letting it become destructive. For now, McLaren's plan is to let the fight unfold naturally, trusting that both drivers can manage the pressure and race respectfully. The second half of the season will test not only their pace, but also their ability to handle the psychological strain of a direct title fight against a teammate. So what's your take? Should McLaren continue letting Piastri and Norris battle it out on equal terms? Or should they prioritize one driver to maximize their chances of securing the Drivers' Championship? Sometimes, a strategy built on freedom can pay off, but in the high-stakes world of Formula One, it can just as easily backfire. After several weeks of speculation, Mercedes appears to be on the verge of renewing George Russell's contract. The news was confirmed by team principal Toto Wolff during an interview with Sky Sports earlier this week. According to Wolff, the expectation is that the deal will be finalized before Formula One heads into its summer break, which comes right after this weekend's Hungarian Grand Prix. This means a decision on Russell's future could arrive within days. Russell's current contract runs until the end of 2025, and talks about an extension have been ongoing since the beginning of the year. Wolff admitted that ideally the matter would have been settled much earlier, but he also emphasized that Russell has remained unaffected by the uncertainty. In Wolff's view, the British driver has proven to be mature, stable, and consistently focused on delivering strong performances regardless of the contractual situation. Sky Sports has reported that the renewal is expected to cover multiple seasons, most likely locking Russell in for 2026 and 2027, with an option for a third year, which would extend the partnership until 2028. Such a deal would provide Mercedes with stability at a time when the driver market has been highly volatile, and many teams are already preparing lineups for the new regulatory era beginning in 2026. The timing of the decision is also linked to the broader driver market picture. For months, Mercedes had been linked with Max Verstappen, seen by many as the team's ideal target for the future. However, those hopes were effectively shut down when Red Bull confirmed Verstappen will remain with the team in 2026. With Verstappen unavailable, Mercedes' most realistic option is to consolidate its current lineup, ensuring continuity while leaving the door slightly open for potential changes in 2027. Alongside Russell, the team has Andrea Kimi Antonelli, the Italian teenager who has been promoted as Mercedes' next big prospect. While Russell's new contract could run through 2027 or beyond, Antonelli's agreement is not expected to be as long-term. This appears intentional, giving Mercedes flexibility in case Verstappen becomes a genuine option for 2027. Such a scenario would allow the team to retain Russell as a stable anchor while adjusting its second seat depending on opportunities in the market. For now, though, Russell has established himself as a clear leader within Mercedes. Since joining the team in 2022, he has adapted quickly, secured consistent results, and shown the composure needed to guide the team through a transitional phase following Lewis Hamilton's departure. Wolff praised his ability to handle pressure, pointing out that Russell has been competitive even in difficult circumstances when the car was not strong enough to challenge for wins. The renewal would also signal Mercedes' confidence in Russell as a long-term cornerstone. With the 2026 regulation changes on the horizon, stability will be critical for every top team. A multi-year extension ensures that Mercedes can focus resources on car development without having to worry about negotiating with a lead driver in the middle of a technical overhaul. Still, the move is not without debate. Some observers argue that Mercedes should have left more space to consider external talent, particularly as the driver market remains fluid and young stars are emerging in Formula 2 and other feeder series. Others, however, believe Russell is exactly what Mercedes needs: a driver who is young enough to be part of the next era, but already experienced enough to lead. As the summer break approaches, all signs point to Russell committing his future to Mercedes. The only questions that remain are the precise length of the deal and how it fits into the team's longer-term strategy. What is certain is that the partnership between Russell and Mercedes is set to continue, providing the Silver Arrows with continuity and leadership during one of Formula One's most transformative periods.